Hello, I'm District Judge Rebecca Worth. I sit at Leicester in the County and Family Courts, and I'm also assigned to the First Tier Tribunal General Regulatory Chamber as a judge and sit there for 4 weeks a year. Feeling I make a difference. Because what's happened is that the people that are sat in front of you have a problem that they've been unable to resolve between themselves. Perhaps others have been involved, an independent mediator or family or friends doing their best to try and help. But at the end of the day, they've not been able to resolve it, and they've come to a court saying, we can't resolve it, we need a resolution. And so I get to hear what each side is saying about what the resolution should be, whether it's submissions, evidence, however's best and most appropriate to hear. And then I make a decision. I mean, sometimes you can actually push the parties to realise certain things, enabling them to make their own decision because they've looked at things from a different point of view. But if that's not possible, then you do just make a decision. But at least then people can move on. I wanted to be the person making final decisions for cases. In my previous role, my role previous to this, I'd been doing a lot of case management decisions, so sort of working out how the best path to a final hearing was. But to actually be able to make the final decisions, look at everything, weigh everything up and apply some law and then make a decision and reason it out is something that I really wanted to do all the time. And so I applied on that basis. As a salaried judge, you tend to have one, perhaps two locations. We have two buildings that we use in Leicester, but you do have very much a home court usually, and it means that you can really sort of get rooted in what's going on locally. You can have a bit more influence over what's happening with lists and how things are brought to the court, and also you can have more consistency as to bringing cases back in front of yourself deliberately so that the parties know that they're going to see the same judge on the next occasion, and they will then know that if you've said on the previous occasion this is what's going to happen if X and Y happens, they know that's going to happen. And it's certainly been very heartwarming to me in the family area particularly to see some situations where couples who have split up and can't decide what's going to happen with the children have been miles apart, and then through the process of litigation sometimes they actually manage to get on in a way that I wouldn't have predicted at the beginning. You don't always get that, but it is one of the nice things that you can see because you can see things over a longer span of time. Yes, I do. I work an 80% contract, so I do 4 days rather than 5 days each week. So as part of the application process, I said that I wanted to work on that basis, and I explained why. It was personal reasons why, but I just explained that within the application process. Then once I was offered the appointment, that had to go to the presiding judges. They look after the Midlands Circuit, which is the circuit that I am a member of and assigned to, and they considered what I'd said, and I was very blessed in that they agreed to that working pattern for me. It enables me to have a really good work-life balance. It means I switch off for the 3-day weekend and then I'm the best judge I can possibly be for the 4 days that I'm working. And it's perhaps an unusual pattern for a judge to have, but I genuinely believe that it means that I can be the very best judge that I can possibly be and serve the people in my area in the very best possible way that I can. It is a marathon, it is not a sprint. And that's the first thing that you really need to know if you're going to apply. It can be 12 to 18 months from the time that you actually put your application in until you're actually appointed and start your role. What I found helpful was to have a few very close friends who supported me through that process. They were my cheerleaders. I applied on several occasions and didn't get through, and I needed those cheerleaders even more perhaps on those occasions. It is important to think of who those best cheerleaders for you are You also need to just think of who is best to really point out the good that you'll be able to do, but also be realistic about your abilities and what is the best path for you to take. The first thing I always say is make sure that you're happy to make decisions that will affect other people and could affect them quite profoundly. Then talk to people who you know and who really know you, because they often see something in you that you don't see. Certainly that's how I've ended up in the judiciary, because one of my chamber presidents, when I was working in a tribunal, saw something in me that I really hadn't seen, and he took the time to nurture that within me and to really encourage me. He was one of my cheerleaders as I went through the process of judicial applications. So find out from other people what they think you can offer as well. And then it is a case of just being very precise with your application, very careful with your application, and just thinking really carefully about how you can properly demonstrate that you can meet the competencies that the JAC are looking for. Just think of several examples that you can then just boil down into examples that you either put in your written application or indeed you've got ready to give in your interview as and when you're interviewed. Those would be my recommendations.